Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. I can see all the mentees coming through. People are still joining, and we're still letting people come in. I like the excitement already. Okay, okay. I'm just giving some time for more people to join. So we start officially. Wonderful. Welcome, everybody, every mentee. Welcome to our speakers on the line. Welcome to the organizers. Welcome, everybody, to the 2026 Women in Law Mentoring Program. This is our third session. Kindly chat us now. Tell us where you are joining us from, please. Your full name and where you're joining us from. If you have attended the previous sessions, then you know this is going to be a great session. The lineup is massive. Can I see the thumbs up? Can I see some reactions in the chat room, please? Send me the emojis so we know that we are ready for today's session. The lineup is great, trust me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I can feel the excitement. Great. We have over 100 mentees ready to learn this evening. That's amazing. All right, so we don't waste any more time. Thank you, everybody, for joining this session, the 2026 Women in Law Mentoring Program, which is by WIMBIZ and the NBA Lagos branch. Before I move any further, my name is Barrister Brianna Akwagu. I am a legal practitioner and a partner at Briggs Legal Practice and Consultancy, all the way in Abuja. I am also a beneficiary of the 2025 Women in Law Mentoring Program by WIMBIZ. So when I tell you that this session, in fact, the entire program is going to be worth your while, just take my word, just believe me. And I am also a mentee for this year as well. What are we going to expect from today? The theme is strategic career planning, making intentional choices in law. I know a lot of us would need some guidance when we come into this profession. And today, I think the lineup, our speakers today are the best people who can give us this guidance. Strategic career planning, making intentional choices in law. Are we ready for this session? Please let me keep seeing your reactions. I want to know where you're joining us from. Let me know, let me know. Amazing, amazing. Amazing. So before we move any further, let me just introduce what this program is. This is WIMBIZ in collaboration with the MBA Lagos branch. WIMBIZ stands for Women in Management, Business and Public Service. This is collaboration with Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch, and they have partnered to deliver the 2026 Women in Law Mentoring Program, an initiative designed to intentionally connect aspiring and experienced women in the legal profession. It's a 5-month mentoring program and is designed to foster meaningful connections through group mentoring, leadership growth, and access to strong professional network. I would like to remind you that at the end of the session, a link will be shared for a quick attendance. Please, it's important that you stay till the end and you fill that form. Thank you. Thereafter, an attendance link will be sent to your emails as a follow-up. Please do remember to give us your feedback so you know we're always growing and we're always doing better. All right, let me see your reactions. Let me see your name and where you're joining us from in the chat room. I'm about to invite somebody very special to open this session. Love it, love it, love it. Love it. So moving forward, I'm great. I'm about to introduce somebody I like to call my very special ED. She's the executive director of WIMBIZ, and she is going to open up this session for us. Please, I want to see some excitement in the chat while she comes in. Just send me your thumbs up, your hearts. Don't forget to put your name and where you're joining us from in the chat box. Thank you. We are welcoming our ED now.
Thank you so much, Barrister Brianna. Good afternoon, everyone. I know some emojis have been coming up, but they're not enough. So if you're here and you want to say thank you to WIMBIZ, you want to say thank you to NBA, and of course, our amazing moderator and the speakers for today. Let me see more reactions. All right. I see that coming. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to specially welcome you to the third session of the Women in Law Mentoring Program 2026 by WIMBIZ in partnership with the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch. Yes, please do feel free to say thank you in the chat box for everyone that has been behind the scenes making this initiative run. The planning committee at NBA, and of course, the WIMBIZ HQ team reaching out, connecting, and putting out all the dots together so that we can all have a wonderful experience. Now, today's session, which is the third session in this program, is one that is very, very dear to my own heart because, as you can see, the theme for today says strategic career planning and making intentional choices in law. So my own philosophy in life, and I am sure you will agree with me, that the outcome of our life is majorly shaped by the decisions that we take on a daily basis. So that is why when it comes to your career, we definitely know how important that is. When it comes to our career, the kind of influence that we would have, the kind of professional success that we'll have, and the value that we create is definitely determined by the choice that we make. And I'm so excited about the lineup of speakers like Barrister Brianna mentioned. These are veterans that are able to help you identify how you want to chart the course of your journey, especially as far as your career is concerned in the legal profession. So let's remember that success does not happen accidentally. It is built through conscious choices, consistent efforts, and the courage to position ourselves wisely. I want us to think about that again because it's the deliberate choices and actions that we take on a daily basis that will determine the outcome that we get. So I want to encourage everyone on this session today, do not drift through your career. Design it, own it, shape it, and make decisions today that your future will thank you for. I am confident that we have the best hands in the room today to help you with the intentional steps that you're going to take in your career. But of course, if you're here today and you're not yet a WIMBIZ associate, you should definitely also consider signing up. I wish you all the best today, and thank you for creating the time to improve on yourself. Thank you. Over to you, Barrister.
Wow, great, great. What an opening. Thank you so much to our very special executive director of WIMBIZ. Like she said, success does not happen accidentally. You have to position yourself wisely. You have to design it, you have to own it, and you have to shape it. I hope all the mentees here are ready with their notepads, with their pens, ready to jot things down that we are going to implement in our lives after this session. Please, I want to see your reactions. I want to know that we're ready. I'm about to call another heavyweight to talk to us. I want to see our reactions. Are we ready? Great, 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 great. Thank you so much, Edie. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for this program. We're going to move forward swiftly now. I'm about to call someone who is going to give us our welcome remarks. Personally, this is somebody that I have, watched her growth, and it has definitely inspired me, and it's still inspiring me till today. Are we ready for this next speaker? Are we ready for the welcoming remarks? Please let me see the excitement in the chat box. Let me see your emojis. Let me see that you are ready to hear from this next person. Thank you so much. Thank you for your reactions. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to call on the one and only chairman of the NBA Lagos branch, Miss Uchenna Akinbade.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction, Brianna. Thank you. Thank you to the WIMBIZ team. Thank you to the NBA Lagos team. Good afternoon, Leonard Silk. Good afternoon to the other esteemed panelists. Good afternoon to the mentees. Thank you for showing up for yourself today. So this session, as has been said, is the third session. We've had two already out of the 5 months Women in Law mentoring program. The ED has already spoken to what the program is about, and if you're on this call, I want to believe that you would have attended the first one and possibly the second one. So we already know what the program is about. And today's topic is building from, what we have done before. The first session was leadership foundations, navigating career pathways in the legal sector. And the second, which was the physical events that we had. The topic of that was shaping women for leadership and legacy. So what we've done prior to now is, just giving us the different pathways, advising ourselves on how we can properly position ourselves. And today's topic just seemed like, it's a build up on what we've been doing, which is strategic career planning, making intentional choices in law. Once the speakers start addressing us, we'll know why they were chosen, because their career trajectories seem very strategic, but who knows, we may discover that it wasn't as strategic as it seems, but they seem like giants of law that have strategically mapped out their plans. And everything in life, like the ED said, requires strategy and requires intentional execution. So what we hope to achieve with today's session is just to help you put things more in a strategic perspective. And if you've just been going with the flow, if you don't really know the next steps to take based on what we've done so far, so this should help you put things more in perspective. I welcome you all today. I look forward to learning as you do as well. And I hope that we'll just have a great time drawing from these giants that we have intentionally curated to come and speak to us today. Thank you so much, Leonard, for taking out your time. Thank you, Ms. Sadefulu, for accepting to impart us with your knowledge, and we look forward to hearing from you and participating when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my chairman, for your welcoming words. I would also like to thank you for what you're doing in the legal profession, what you're doing for women in the legal profession as well. You keep inspiring us. Thank you also for this collaboration with WIMBIZ. I am sure the work you're doing for all of us mentees, we're about over 200 now. What you're doing for us will definitely make a mark in our lives. I hope the mentees are ready because we're about to go in full throttle and hear from our speakers. Just like the chairman said, this session, this is the third session and it's a build up from the first and the second session. And this is supposed to help us, put things in better perspective, put our professions in better perspective. And like she said, the people who are about to speak to us are practically giants in this field. So it's always an honor to listen to people like this. Please let me see your excitement. We're going into it. The next speaker is no jokes. Let me see your excitement, please. This next speaker, the time she is going to take and talk to us, who knows what she would have done? Who knows the changes she would have made? But she has taken out her time to come and talk to us today. I'd also want to remind all the mentees to keep your notebooks, keep your pens down. You're about to be jotting some worthwhile stuff. Your questions will come after both speakers. You can also put them in the question box, in the Q&A box. Write them down. You would have a chance to ask all your questions after both speakers have spoken to us. Please, let me see your excitement. Let me see your excitement. I'm about to call a heavyweight. I'm about to call the heavyweight, actually. It's not easy to be an SAN. Are we ready? Let me see in the chat box. Are we ready? Are we ready? Okay, I think we're ready. I think we're ready. All right. I'm going to be calling our very first mentor for today. And she goes by Mrs. Abimbola Akeredolu, SAN. I'm going to read her short bio now for you. Mrs. Abimbola Akeredolu, SAN, is a partner at the law firm Banwo and Ikodalu. She supervises the firm's litigation, arbitration, and ADR practice. She's the current chairman and board of directors of the Lagos Chambers of Commerce International Arbitration Center. She is a target-driven, goal-oriented lawyer. Her resolute commitment to the best interest of our clients in transactions and in court litigation, negotiation of settlements. She's quite renowned for her vast experience in commercial litigation, arbitration, her multilingual skills, English, French, Italian, German. I could go on and on and on and on. I don't think if I want to talk about all her accolades and her achievements, maybe I would finish next week. But please, let's welcome her. Let's welcome the SAN who's about to talk to us. Please, let me see your reactions. Let me see your chats. Let's welcome her, please. I hope your notepads are ready, your pens are ready. For one, I'm ready. Please, let's welcome her in. SAN, we are ready for you, ma.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Thank you. I'd like to start by thanking WIMBIZ and the NBA Lagos branch under the able leadership of Uchenna Akingbade. Thank you very much for this opportunity, for giving me the privilege to speak to over 200 women. Wow, well done. Women are normally too busy cooking or tending to family to come to things like this. Well done, ladies, for showing up in your numbers. I hope you go away with value. I hope between Mrs. Adefulu and myself, we'll give you good nuggets of wisdom to take away and grow your own careers as well. So I've been invited to speak on strategic career planning, making intentional choices in law. So how do we engage in strategic career planning so that we make intentional choices in law? The very first starting point. I'm going to put this in simple language, then I'll put it in fancy language. In simple language, the first thing is know thyself, and to thyself be true. So you find yourself with a degree in law. Imagine that the degree in law is a baby that has been put in your hands. What do you do with this baby? A degree in law. So you've done uni, you've done law school, and you find yourself with this baby. I remember when I had my first daughter and she was placed in my hands, and I appreciated what it was to be a mother. Wow, if this child succeeds, it's up to me in life. If this child fails in life, it's up to me. Oh dear God, help me to make this child a success. So that's what it's like when you get a degree in law or any qualification. But for me, a degree in law is unique. Life has been placed into your hands. The first thing you want to do is define your priorities. And I'm proceeding on the assumption here that you decided to read law. Or even if your parents convinced you to read law, you now have a law degree. It's a wonderful thing to have. So now you find yourself with a degree in law. You need to determine, what do you want to do? Because the law itself is a city with many avenues. The law is a life with many opportunities. Law transcends every sphere of human endeavor. So you need to first ask yourself, what aspect of this thing do I want to do? I know that the answer to that question can be tough, because you will all forgive me. The best example I can give of all these things is myself. When I was in university, I didn't think I would practice. I said I wanted to be a corporate player, go and be a big lawyer in the bank, make a lot of money. And one day in the faculty of law, when I was discussing this, a professor of mine was passing by, Professor Akonki, God rest his soul. And Professor Akonki mentioned my name and said, don't make that mistake in your life. People like you should be in practice. The money you think you go and make in corporate, people like you can make it in practice in 1 month. I was young then. I mean, though I read law as a second degree, but you all know the meaning of YIMU. Old man, what's he talking about? Youthful exuberance. I didn't pay any attention. But by the time I got a law degree and started and went out to practice, I met a lawyer. I saw a lawyer in court who was so dynamic and brilliant, my first boss. And I said, wow, this is something I could do. So what am I saying here? Sometimes you are able to find it. Sometimes it finds you. In my case, litigation found me. I honestly, when we did law office attachment, we used to go with Professor Kasumu to court, and I used to be absolutely bored. And what's all this one? Prof will talk. The judge will write. GOK Ajayi will talk. The judge will write. What's this? It doesn't look like what we used to see on TV. So I honestly had ruled out litigation. That no way am I going to do this. I fall asleep in court all the time. But well, I guess when I said that, God, who had other plans for me, just must have smiled. The way a parent smiles when a child is being silly. When I then saw my boss, Malam Yusuf Ali, in practice in court, all of a sudden, I guess when the time of the thing is right, I saw practice in a different light. And I said, wow, this is what I'm going to do. This is good. And the extent to which I didn't think I would practice, for call to bar, they gave me money for gown. I blew it. I bought a wig for 600 naira so that I could put it in my car to intimidate police. That was the extent to which I didn't think I would practice. But after seeing Malam Ali in court, I understood the point. I saw the dynamism. I just loved it. It looked completely different to me. I bought my gown in the High Court premises that day, and I've never looked back. So the point I'm making is, sometimes you find it. I always knew I would be a lawyer because I love to defend the oppressed. But along the way, during the journey, I got distracted. Then when the time was right, I saw the focus. So don't be hard on yourself if at the very beginning you don't know what it is. But I tell you, that degree in law in your hands, cherish it. So when you finally find yourself, ask yourself, what part of law do I want to do? And you must take into cognizance your personality. If you're not a troublesome person like me, you probably won't do well in litigation. I like structured trouble. I hate when anybody is trying to take anybody for granted, even if I don't know them. Sometimes I will get down from my car and challenge a policeman who is oppressing somebody that looks pretty innocent and say, what has he done? Why are you beating him? Why? What? Even if he's wrong, you have no right to beat him. I'm all into rights and I hate oppression. Everything, even in the family, hates oppression. So I knew straight away that, I guess I'm cut for litigation. But then litigation is not just about arguing. You need to be able to sit down and strategize. It's warfare. I call it warfare with principles and strategy. So you may not hold a gun, but the law in your hand can be a gun. And if you know how to shoot your bullets appropriately in drafting your pleadings, you become a good warrior. By the time you are an SAN, I call them generals of the law. So as a soldier, you rise through the ranks. First, you are a foot soldier, then you are a combatant, then you are mounted troops, and over time, you get your stars, 1-star general, and you get your stars. But you need to ask yourself, what am I cut out for? If you know that you cannot deal with adjournments and legal battles and firing legal bullets, you may want to consider doing corporate law. I know many people who have found meaningful, fulfilling careers being corporate lawyers. The Mr. Udomas of this world, the Aso Igodalos, Femi Banwos of this world, Mr. Agbenga Oyebode of this world, they found a fantastic Ogogo Makinde, Sumbo Akitola, great people, ladies, great men who have found a fantastic career in corporate law. They don't go to court for 1 minute, but they have a fulfilling job. They do mergers and acquisitions. They advise on tax. If with tax, you can even still go to the tax appeal tribunal. It's litigation in a way, but it's just tax. You litigate tax disputes. So, you don't have to, like matrimonial causes where the wife will be in the witness box crying. If you can't deal with stuff like that, or the husband and wife are fighting over custody, a bitter battle over children, and they pull you in because you are the wife's lawyer or the husband's lawyer, and they see you at the party and they're eyeing you badly because you are the wife's lawyer or the husband's lawyer. There are those downsides of litigation. Whereas if you're a tax lawyer, nobody's going to eye you. Your clients are companies or even individuals, high net worth individuals. So you need to, like I said, know thyself and to thyself be true. You need to ask yourself what part. And you could even go into academics. You could teach. If you love teaching, you can find yourself a happy and fulfilling career in the university or in the law school. And you could even go into public service. Like I said, destiny sometimes will pull you in different directions. After so many years of practice, I think I was 20-something years in practice when I was invited to be the Attorney General of Ogun State. I it wasn't part of my plans at all. So that's why I said sometimes you find it and sometimes it finds you. Just allow yourself enjoy the journey. So you could also have a career in public service. You can start out going into the bench. You can go to the magistracy. The beauty of the magistracy is if you go in to be a magistrate, you are sitting in a judicial role, but you can leave the magistracy and come back to practice. Whereas if you become a judge in the court of a high court, you can't come back to practice. You can then get promotion to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. That's another option. But it's a free range, and you must decide what it is. You must ask yourself what it is you want. Do you value income? Or is it that you want to be a homemaker, but you need to have work to do? In which case, you could opt to, have a small legal practice that does not stress you out, that gets you to go and pick your children at 4 o'clock in the school and come back home and continue working, maybe incorporating companies. You could have a small boutique firm that just does little things like incorporations. The opportunities are limitless with law. Do you want to be an entrepreneur? You could even go in-house. All these blue chip companies, you could go in-house as a legal advisor or a counsel at a lower level and grow to become company secretary. The opportunities with the degree in law are without limits. You need to also then consider what kind of lifestyle or leadership role do you want for the long term. So, you need to define what success means to you. Right. So having crossed that bridge of defining what success means to you, of defining your priorities, you then need to choose the area. So if you decide, for instance, that you're going into public service, do you want to go into public prosecution? Do you want to be a prosecutor? Though with civil service is you go through all the departments as you rise. If what you want to do is a job that closes you at 4, so you go and pick your children and work has ended, a career in public service will be fine. But you must bear in mind that at some point, those children will grow and go away. I remember in my career, when my children were young, and I felt I wasn't giving them enough time. There was a constructive tension between giving the best to my work and giving the best to my family. I wanted to do both, but both were pulling me in different directions. My young children wanting homework, preparing them for common entrance was eating into my time. My boss at work enjoyed my work and wanted more of it. So there was this constructive tension. And around that time, people were telling me, you'll be a very good judge. You're so brilliant. You'll be a very good judge. The chief judge of the High Court of Lagos State at the time was saying the same thing to me. The chief judge of the Federal High Court was saying the same thing to me. He sent his registrars to me, tell this woman to come and be a judge. But I knew I didn't have the temperament. It's a beautiful job. It would have been great, but I don't have the patience to be a judge, good judge. What is worth doing is worth doing well. Bear that in mind. To be a good judge, you need to be a good listener. You have to listen to plaintiff, listen to defendant, listen to, forgive me, silly lawyers talking rubbish with a straight face. I don't even know how to hide my feelings. So I knew that, it looks good, but it's not for me. But at the point, the tension was so much, I put it to God in prayer. At that time, the AG Lagos, that was the former vice president of Shibaju, was AG Lagos. So all the stars were aligned if I wanted to be a judge. But I needed to be, I said, to thyself, be true. I was true to myself. Lawyers will just be writing petition. This woman will, because I just knew that it wasn't for me. And then my husband helped. My husband said to me, yeah, he understands the constructive tension. It's good and it shows that you're a good mother. But remember that these children will grow up, go away, and start their own life. By then, you'll be stuck as a judge. You can't come back to practice. Then one silly person will say, I'm SAN. I'll be talking rubbish in front of you. You will lose your mind. Think about it carefully. The children will grow and go away. This tension will not be there forever. And that was what did it for me. I knew it's a beautiful thing, when people come, my Lord, you have your orderly, they say to give you car, you don't need to go and do marketing to look for briefs. It would have been a good life. But I needed to be true to myself. So that was why I didn't go down that road. Many roads will open. Many roads will look good. Like the Bible says, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You need grace to take the right road. So even while we're talking strategic planning and everything, there are lots of other dynamics. It is for you to engage in deep thinking, meditation, and deep reflection. Understand your temperament and understand what is good for you. So having gone through all of that, you then need to determine which area of law do I want to engage in? Because ultimately, we're all here to make success and profit. So we're looking for profit, we're looking for prosperity, we're looking for fulfillment as well and peace of mind. But you see, if you enjoy what you do, really, it's like you don't work for a day. The days when I feel like I'm working are those days maybe I've lost the case. Or, somebody on the other side has done something terribly unethical and, I'm finding it hard to live with myself. Otherwise, I actually don't feel like I'm working because I absolutely enjoy what I do. The days I feel I'm working is when I've lost a case and it's a bad day or a judge has been nasty to me in court, which is very, very few and far between. But then you get the off case where the judge seems to have other ideas. I say no more on that. So you need to choose the area you want intentionally. I just finished, about an hour ago, I was talking to the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria. I found that the real estate area is a very good area for women, especially women who are raising young families. I don't know about others, maybe because I didn't have a mom. So raising our children was between my husband and I. So time was a very important factor. The time we had to spend with the children had to be quality time to make it worth our while. My husband was a doctor, a gynecologist, so he could be called anytime to go and do a cesarean section or do like whatever, attend to a woman who wants to this, that, and the other. I, being a lawyer, would work all sorts of hours. So time with the children was so important. I find that with real estate law, you can work from home. That way, you are there with your young children, adding value, creating value, and adding value to the life of your children. Or you need to look at your own dynamics. No two people are the same. So my destiny might not work for you and yours might not work for me or as for the other person. But it's for you to look at yourself, look at your circumstances. If, for instance, your mother-in-law is available and your mother is there that you can leave your children with, oh, beautiful for you. And those people, because you see, it's not enough that your mother-in-law or your mother is there. Do they have the values you want to impart to your children? Because don't forget that you owe posterity to add value to them as well. Those things that you learned in school, those things you learned along the journey of life, you have a duty to put it into your own children so that they will create a better tomorrow. So if you are not there, you are not helping. You're not building tomorrow. So you are building today and also building tomorrow. It's like you have so many balls in the air, eggs. I call them eggs in the air, and none must drop. So it takes very careful strategic planning. Egg of children, egg of home, egg of work. You have these 3 eggs. You will see your male colleagues you left school together and they're already driving jeeps and all of that. There's no competition in destiny. He doesn't have 3 eggs in the air. You have 3 eggs in the air. So if you want to race, you must be careful. These eggs mustn't drop. You better walk. If he is running, no problem. Look at 2 cars took off from Lagos Ibadan Expressway. One speeds up. It gets to Ogiri. His fan belt cuts. You, in your little beetle, you are going on, and you get to Ogiri and see him struggling with his fan belt. You continue your job. Oh, sorry, You continue. Have you not overtaken him? No competition in destiny. He may then fix his fan belt and come and overtake you again. But no competition in destiny. And a lot of us women make that mistake and puts bitterness in us as we go on that journey. The last thing you want is to have any form of bitterness in your heart or in your life while you are on this journey. There's no competition in destiny. You will get where you need to go. I remember the day I was sworn in as Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Austin Alega SAN was NBA chairman at the time, and the comment he made at the dinner when I was introduced, he said, if this woman had been a man, she would have taken silk 10 years ago. And we all laughed. And he probably was right. But I eventually got there. You know, the Yorubas have a saying, that, you know, whatever dress you have, you will always have opportunity to wear it. Don't race with anybody. Focus on your journey. And as you focus on your journey, if you focus on being the best that you possibly can be, success and greatness will definitely attend your ways. I always tell the story of two nations. There was one nation who started building cars. All they were interested in while they were building cars was profit, profit, profit. They built big, beautiful cars, but profit was their focus. The other nation started building cars, and their focus was building the best cars. I tell you, today, that, best cars in terms of fuel efficiency, durability, that second nation that focused on building the best cars has the largest market share of the car industry today as we speak, whereas their focus was being good. And nobody has ever gone wrong with a focus on being good. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things will be added unto you. I take that to say, seek ye to be the best, and money, success, and all other things will be attended unto you. The Yorubas say, a man went looking for money. If he finds money, what will he use it to buy? Is it not integrity and dignity? So why not start out looking for integrity and dignity? Money will then be an add-on. But let us focus on being the best at what we can be. So you're looking for a niche, a legal niche. Real estate is good. Everything is good. But you will do better at it if you enjoy it. And you'll find that if you start law practice, if you can be in a place where you can be exposed to different areas of law, oil and gas, intellectual property, compliance and ESG, technology and data. New areas are even opening up. Data protection alone, following the passing of the Data Protection Act, NDPA 2023, data protection has opened up an entirely new vista of the law. Oh, please, I'm sorry. If you don't stop me, I will just keep going. What is my stop time? Hello. I hope I've been talking to myself since.
I say no, we can hear you clearly. You're doing amazing. I think we have
What's my stop time, please?
Less than 5 minutes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So, data protection has opened up new vista. Consumer protection, anti-competition, it has opened up new areas. Even the new tax law. Oh my! Mergers and acquisition, energy and infrastructure, power. Oh, power. It's all sorts of vistas are opening up. We thought the law was wide, it's even grown wider. If you just go and secure yourself in data protection, big companies have to now recruit data protection officers. And from that, you can grow. And I'm suspecting that at some point, data protection will have a place at the seat or on the board. The person in charge of data protection will have a seat at the board. This is me forecasting. I might be wrong. If you, by the time you know your Companies and Allied Matters Act in and out, you do ICSAN, the charter secretaries and administrators of Nigeria exam, and you have that, you can start a nominee company. Those companies that do board evaluation, you do company secretarial work, and that's all that you do. You can do your work at home, except you go for board meetings. When you come back from board meeting, take your work home, go and write your board minutes, do those things you need to do, file your returns, which is you can do from home. Amazing opportunities. A degree in law is a meal ticket of immense and invaluable proportions. Intellectual property, you could even be in intellectual property. You will probably, if you do the corporate side of intellectual property and all your filings are the trademark registry only, where you go and do oppositions and whatnot, you don't go to court, you don't have to fight and get bitter like in matrimonial causes or any corporate matter litigations. It's amazing. In real estate, you can even just focus on investment. There is so much opportunity in law that it's for you to sit down, have a calm look at what it is, that area of law that you like. Like I said, sometimes you find it, sometimes it finds you. Sometimes life itself will throw you into it, and you find that, I like this. So leave yourself open, but equip yourself though. Once you have chosen that area, ensure that you invest in your education in that area, whatever area it is that you choose. You have to build competence. You must build competence before visibility. Take opportunities. So if for instance you go into intellectual property, every textbook in intellectual property you should be the proud owner of. That is equipping yourself. Then you start to write articles. You hear a decision of the Supreme Court that relates to your area, you write an article on it, review it, or a case review on the decision of the Supreme Court on that area of your law. You are building competence. With it, visibility is coming. But you cannot succeed if you don't equip yourself. You need to equip yourself. And how do you equip yourself? With law, you can't get away from books. If it's ebooks that works for you, that's just fine. If it's hard copy books, you need to buy it. You need to be conversant with current trends in the area you have chosen. Oh, I still have time. But really, I think that has summed it up. And then, yes, you can identify mentors. Mentorship means different things to different people. I've had people say to me, "You are my mentor." And I'm wondering, hey, have we ever met? And, they say, "No, I've been following you from afar and I'm inspired." So, because I'm not good with social media, Instagram, even LinkedIn. I think my children put me on LinkedIn, and from time to time I look at it and haven't a clue what to do. So, but mentors can advise you. If you are a woman of childbearing age and you're having a bit of a confidence crisis, not knowing what to do, you can speak to a woman who has crossed that road to encourage you, point you in directions. I remember when my children were small, it's as if every time I was preparing for a major trial, that's when the house girl would decide that she wants to go and see her mother. And it just used to be like, I had to pray the prayer of Jabez at some point. Father, what is it? Is it because I prayed the prayer of Jabez? Or, I had to find creative ways to handle the kitchen and the children, and it's amazing. It's been an amazing journey. But one looks back now, and I'm happy to say I can give glory to God. And I think my 5 minutes is spent, so I will rest it here. But
Thank
please,
you.
in question and answers, I will happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our learned silk. That was powerful. That was amazing.
Thank you.
I've taken so many notes today from our SAN, aka the General in Law. I'm going to keep that one. We've heard today that law has many opportunities, many opportunities. I saw some of the mentees mentioning the newer ones in the comment sections as well. SAN has told us of real estate, corporate, the big guys in the corporate field, taxation, so many fields, so many fields. Personally, I was thrown into litigation first time in practice, and I have now found myself in corporate and commercial practice. Another point I took down is that law necessarily is warfare with principles and strategy. So also define your success. Define your success. When you know thyself and to thyself be true, it will be easier for you to pick your niche. You know what part of life you're in at the moment. You know what you want. Is it money? Is it, the integrity, whatever? And you sit down, you know yourself, decide, and you pick your niche. And when you pick that niche, stay educated. You should be the best. Build your competence before visibility. And remember, no competition in destiny. That was amazing. Our general in law, our SAN, our learned self, that was so amazing. Thank you so much. Please, you can start putting your questions in the chat box, and we are going to attend to them at the end of our next session. Please, if you feel inspired, can I see the emojis? Can I see your reactions? Can I see that we are ready for the next session? Please just send some love to our SA and let her know that she has inspired us today. Thank you so much. Great. We're going to be moving forward now so we don't waste time. I am calling the next speaker, our next mentor, our second mentor for today. I'm going to read her bio just very briefly. Mrs. Daring Adefulu is an experienced senior lawyer. She holds a position of the Group General Counsel and Company Secretary, Chief Compliance Officer of EMPLE Nigeria. Her career spans 25 years as an in-house legal compliance. I think those many years might be over some of us mentees here. So you know you're about to get wealth of knowledge from here. Compliance roles in various sectors, including digital marketing, banking, currently in the insurance sector. I think we are ready for our next speaker. Please, let's welcome her in the chat box. Let's welcome her with your reactions. Thank you so much, Mrs. Daring. We are ready for you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. And I will stand on all protocols in the interest of time. I want to thank WIMBIZ, the WIMBIZ 2026 Women in Law Mentoring Program for the honor. So I'll just get straight to it. Mrs. Akeredolu did an excellent job. And because I knew I was going next, I thought I would talk about the in-between. So maybe I'll start with the point that what does being strategic actually mean? In my opinion, I would state that it means being flexible. So in terms of the topic which we're speaking on, which is strategic career planning, making intentional choices in law, I would say just be open and flexible. And in discussing my own touch points, I will weave a story around my actual reality and how I found myself in my current role vis-a-vis how I started. So I will start by stating that I found myself in University of Benin. I was studying law then, and in that time we had those long ASU strikes. So my parents and myself took the decision that I would move to University of Lagos, and there was a transfer, and I ended up in University of Lagos. But to cut a long story short, there was some politics at the top, and the transfer was rescinded, which meant I was now out of a school. And when we approached the University of Benin, because all schools were not at par, if anyone remembers then, my classmates in Benin had written exams, which meant even to take me back, I needed to wait another year. So I was now at home faced with the challenge of what to do. And I just went, I don't know if it was going online then, but I found a school sometime in November called Holborn College, who was happy to admit me, even though I was in year 3 in Uniben, because every other university in the UK had gone too far. And I convinced them that I'll be able to cope. And that was how I found myself in the UK. So I guess the first point I would state in weaving my story is just be open to whatever situation you find yourself in, because when I got into Holborn College, I did cope and I did prove myself in year 1. But I realized that it wasn't a university, it was just affiliated to a university. So I transferred to Cardiff University from Holborn College into year 2. And the rest, as they say, is history. And so sometimes when I look back on that horrible time, I also see the nuggets in terms of how I ended up in the UK and the exposure that that brought with it. So I will then move on to even the concept of gaining and not missing an opportunity. And I will vulnerably discuss how I would feel like I missed some opportunities, even though later in my career, I was able to resolve that. So early on in my career, when I was in the UK, my husband then was on a PhD course. I had so much time on my hands. I wasn't working, and then even the jobs I had were not long-term roles. And I could have written the exam then, but I was chasing money and I did not do the exam. I also had the opportunity then to write the New York bar, which was a strategic move in the sense that you would have the authority to practice law in New York, apart from being a qualified Nigerian lawyer. I didn't do that. Later on in my career, I had opportunities that were thrown at me. And one of the reasons that I didn't get the roles was that I didn't have the New York bar certification. So what I would also state is when you have time and moments to take these certifications, please take them. I later on resolved the exam matter by doing the fast track, but it really haunted me why I didn't write it when I should. So I would just use that to say utilize the times in your career and use those windows widely, time to just get those certifications in. Then I moved to Nigeria and attended the Nigerian Law School. I note at the time that some of my colleagues in the UK who wanted to get, after graduating from university, wanted to practice in Nigeria, decided to stay back to be paralegals because then the UK system was quite closed. Unless you get a training contract or you go the barrister route, you actually cannot practice as a lawyer. And I took the decision that I needed to go to the Nigerian Law School. So in the short term, it seemed I had colleagues who were working, albeit as paralegals or even just pivoting into other careers. But in the long term, it was the wisest thing I did because I got my qualification and I became a professional and, qualified lawyer. Whilst today, I have some colleagues who are career paralegals in the UK, never quite got into the training contracts. And so I would just say sometimes make that decision. It will pay off later. Then subsequently after that, I found my way into a leading law firm. I'll mention names, the firm of Udo Doma and Bilo Sage. And with hindsight, I spent just 2 years there, but my goodness, the foundation of the knowledge I gained there, I still see it in what I do today. And with hindsight, I always think, should I actually have stayed longer? And I should have stayed longer, but I was, in quotes, chasing money because I wanted to earn more. But despite leaving quickly, I didn't burn bridges. I resigned politely. And I am part of a unique network of people who have worked in Udo, Doma, and Bilo Sage. So I guess the point I'm making in decisions that you make, always have a long-term view because we are all in one profession. And I have had opportunities thrown at me from colleagues and persons that I worked with whilst at that firm. And then after Udo, Udoma, and Bilo Sage, I'm really moving fast, but weaving a story around, principles and things that, should guide decisions we make. I ended up in Union Bank of Nigeria. And yes, I will mention names. And that was an interesting time because I got to understand banking. I worked as a solicitor in the banking department, but I quickly learned that I needed to move. And I would share plainly why. I had a discussion with one of my line managers, and she stated that she had the opportunity to promote me, but couldn't promote me because there were so many lawyers in the department who had been waiting for promotions, and some had waited 10 years and were not promoted. And in that moment, I knew that I needed to leave. She was being forthright, but it was a gift to me. So I would use this as an example in terms of do not waste your time in a space that may not work for you. Sometimes people do not understand the difference between a career and a job. So what I mean by that is manage your career, manage your job. I had a great time whilst I was in Union Bank, but the truth is it was the banking system. And did I want to wait 15 years before being promoted? No. So in managing your career, you have your benchmarks as to what you want to do. You know that you will not stay in a role, for example, for more than, say, two years, 3 years max. And that's why when I hear people saying, I've been in this job for 10 years, they didn't promote me. To put it bluntly, you were lax. Because if you had a manage your career plan, after 3 years, you move. So it's not a question of being toxic. It's a question of having your own personal boundaries. So you stay professional in your job, but you also have your internal benchmarks that you live by that ensure that your job doesn't manage your career for you. So as they say, you are not a tree. And then after Union Bank, I got into Old Mutual Nigeria, which was a leading multinational company. And with that came so much exposure. I would say I found myself in Old Mutual in terms of training, exponential growth. Within a year of joining Old Mutual, I was made company secretary, and the rest, as they say, is history. But without being bold about leaving the bank, I would not have found myself in Old Mutual, which eventually became Ample 3 years ago. And with that came cross-jurisdictional exposure, my excellent understanding of governance, more meaningful contracts, both within the country and cross-jurisdictionally. So I guess the point I'm making is then my career was aligned with my job. So now that I've jumped quickly through my career, I will just talk about a few touch points that I think are key in terms of being strategic in, navigating your career. So remember I stated that being strategic means being flexible. And what do I mean by that? There's no linear path. Be open. All opportunities that I have found tend to have a positive outcome. I would share that even in this Old Mutual that I'm excited about, there was a time I spent about 2 years waiting to be promoted into a substantive role, even though I was company secretary. And I was so frustrated. And that frustration led me into developing myself. I didn't even wait for my employer to send me for courses. I would just look around. What can I do? What can I pay for? What can I join? I went for the WIMBIZ Board Mentoring Program, the Women on Boards mentoring program, and it exposed me into, board dynamics and just being board ready. And when you complete that program, you become a WIMBOard Fellow. During that time of pushing myself, learning, training, not waiting for HR to send me on training courses, I met people, I spoke about my interests. And from there, I got my first ever speaking engagement. And I remember thinking, wow, the mischief, which was that I was a bit frustrated in a role, led to my self-development. And within maybe 6 months of completing the WIMBOard training program, I was then confirmed in the role. And when I look back, I realized that without that certain 2 years of waiting for the role, which led to frustration, which then led to me self-reflecting and working on myself, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So I will use that to state that always treat every situation as an opportunity, because it always pays back in the future. So may I ask Brianna how much time I have?
Mrs. Daring, we have 15 minutes.
Awesome. Okay. So I'll start with, I have about like 12 bullet points here, and I'll go through them and weave them through the stories. So I would start with the fact that, you remember I said I'm talking about the in-between. So within the context that we're being flexible in our career, I just want to work on all these soft issues that to me sometimes are much more important than even the concept of, am I going to work in a law firm vis-a-vis, am I going to work in-house? Because the point is, without being ready or developing yourself, you probably cannot excel in either of both. So in today's world, just note that we have AI. I could go to AI and discuss the scenarios we're discussing now and spool out, what I will discuss. But authenticity to me will be the game changer in ensuring that your legal career, you navigate it properly, because you want a situation where you can distinguish yourself. Then I would also say be strategic. And strategic beyond being flexible is just understand the game, understand the rules. And I would use an analogy to explain that. To get into a university in the United States, you have to write the GMAT. No amount of brilliance will get you into that university without writing the GMAT. So the point I'm making is, you need to understand the rules around what you need to do to excel in where you are. I work in my role, I serve as company secretary of a board. And I have been opportune over the past 10 years to observe board dynamics and read the room. And I have, in my experience, seen that how you are seen is how you are heard. And what I mean by that is, if there isn't belief in the wisdom that you want to share, no matter how wise you are, that lack of belief would not allow your own audience understand the wisdom that you want to share. So you have to work on your personal branding, how you are seen, how you speak, how you influence, and that takes time, and it's holistic. It's in little things, personal grooming. It's in reading the room. It's in knowing when to pause. It's in knowing when to speak. It's in emotional intelligence. Then I'll use that to go into the concept of your personal brand. I find that most people tend to tie their brands to their roles. And what I mean by that is, I am Demi Adefulu. I am an experienced lawyer. I also happen to work in Empole, Nigeria. But without Empole, Nigeria, I believe that you understand the value proposition that I bring. But when you tie your brand so intricately with your role, you do not have a personal brand. You have your personal brand and you have your job. I guess it's also linked to that career and job. So in today's world, visibility is a soft skill. How can you navigate a legal career without having a LinkedIn profile? How do you navigate a legal career without being seen in all the relevant legal spaces, be it the conferences, be it networking events, be it even events that I find that law firms are being very, very, very innovative now, and they have all these workshops. And so the point is, you want to grow, you need to be seen to grow. You need to be seen to be able to be nominated for the roles. You need to be seen to be able to be, spoken for, or being pushed for what you want to do. And then there's also adaptability. And by that, I mean, I started work in a law firm. I moved into a bank. From the bank, I moved into an insurance company. And I have been at interviews where people say, you've never worked in this sector. How would you cope? And because I understand my craft, I'm like, it's not about the sector. A lawyer can work anywhere. It's about the principles. It's about understanding the law and dispensing. It's about explaining. And so I have had moments where I literally see the panel being educated. I mean that, from a place of humility, because It does not matter if I'm the head of legal in an insurance company, I can work as the head of legal in a telecoms company. I appreciate there are different sectors, but my learning curve will not be as steep as someone who is green and has never worked. Because the higher you rise, it's not necessarily about your technical skills. And frankly, you have people who report to you that are doing the engine room work. You are actually working strategically. So I would also talk about commercial awareness and business mindedness. So wherever you find yourself, read the room. So what I mean by that is if I'm in a law firm and I have to write a paper about a subject, I would, it will be detailed. It will probably be, I'm just being hypothetical, 10 pages long. I will cross-reference. I will refer to case law. But if I'm in my current role and I have a question about a legal issue, what am I gaining by stating that section 1 of the CAMA says this? And because section 1 of the CAMA says this, we cannot do that. I just go straight to the point. The law requires that we can do this. There are exceptions to what we cannot or cannot do. And I can advise from a business perspective that we do this. I can even stretch the law in the sense that you can take a business decision to take this, do this, do that, but this is the risk in doing this, do that. I don't know if you get the point I'm making. So read the room and be relevant to your audience. In my in-house role, no one appreciates referring to statutes, referring to CAMA, or for those who are really thorough, on the last page of my advice, I can state the foundation of why we can or cannot do what we want to do. That way, you become a real, true business partner that is required when decisions are being made. So you find that sometimes you have people who work in-house and they state, oh, the legal function is left out of decisions. Sometimes it's because the legal function is not dynamic and they are seen as deal breakers. You cannot do this. No, if you cannot do something, I explain it, but I'll also explain what you can do in lieu of not being able to do something. So I guess in terms of a personal brand, just always read the room where you are. If you're working in a law firm, if you're working in-house, if you're working in litigation, if you're working in a court, and then tailor your dynamism to the role in which you find yourself. I would also talk about the concept of your career path. A career path is not linear. I keep saying it, but it's important to know that. And sometimes I hate when people say, what is your 5-year plan? It's difficult to know because we're in a world of adaptability. Post, for example, COVID-19, you find that roles are conflated. I am chief legal officer, I am company secretary, and I'm also chief compliance officer. I'm line 1 and line 2 for those who understand that. And so truth is, from this role, I could move into compliance and actually move away from law. From this role, I could move into company secretarial. And then there are pros and cons. I've been in an interview where someone said, you are jack of all trades, master of none. And if I didn't understand my craft or understand the value proposition that I bring, I would have just taken that. But I was like, no, actually, I have a mastery of the 3 lines or the 3 hats that I wear. And I am bringing value, even though this role that I'm interviewing for is company secretarial, because I would have my legal hat on and my commercial hat on that speaks to the company secretarial work that I do. Yet I could also decide that from this role, I move into some sort of ease, depending on where I am in my career. And I don't want this level of work. And then I just go for strict, legal or company secretariat or compliance. So, just always understand your value proposition and be able to defend your value proposition. I would also speak about, finally, the fact that your career is a journey. It's not linear. Treat it as, just be open. And when I say open, the higher you rise. So in my job, for example, I'm a member of the executive committee. And I believe that at my level, if I am told that I need to come and head the human resources department, I will accept it as a challenge. I would not say I haven't done that before, because the truth is, at that level, you should be able to do anything subject to limitations according to rules. So, of course, a chartered accountant is required to be the CFO. And of course, a lawyer is required to be the chief legal officer. But there are some roles that have to do with seniority, strategy, and experience. So, I think I will pause, and I'm done for now.
Mrs. Darren, thank you so much. I think I told the mentees today that this session was going to be powerful. The combination of our general and Mrs. Darren today was just amazing. Some things I took from this session. First of all, I want to thank you for sharing your story. That is very inspiring. Moving through all these fields, we define what is actually being strategic. It's being open, it's being flexible. We also learned today that we should always have a long-term view in this profession. That personally, it spoke to me because when I started the practice, I was somewhere for about 4 years before I left. And today in my practice, the connections I made from there is still what is keeping me. It still helps me till today. We also learned today to manage your career path. Manage your career plan. It's never linear. Remember, it is always a journey. Be open-minded. We also learn today to understand the rules of how to excel where you are. It's different for everywhere. In-house is different. In a law firm is different. At the bench is different. So wherever you find yourself, you should understand the rules of engagements there. Read the room. And also, do not tie your brand to your current role. We are allowed to be dynamic. Thank you so much, Ms. Daring. I know that there are so many questions in the chat box. We are taking note of all of them. If you have written down your questions, get ready because we are moving on to the next part now. Thank you so much. Can the mentees please thank our 2 mentors? Can we just share our appreciation in the chat box? Can we put some emojis up? If you have a question too and you would like to ask it on the Zoom, please just put your hands up and we will get to you. Thank you so much. I have the first question here now. You can also indicate the specific mentor you want to answer your question. All right, so the first question, our mentors, I hope you are ready. I'm sure they have a lot of questions. All right, the first one is, what advice would you give to someone that is debating on whether to switch fields, knowing they would have to start all over again? Do you think it's better to stay and keep growing in that field or make the switch? How do you know if leaving will be strategic or better? Please, any of the mentors can answer this question for us.
Honestly, it's difficult to say because you are the only one who truly understands your circumstances. You're the one wearing the shoe. You know where it pinches. Because the fact that you're thinking of switching fields, is it because you're having a temporarily hard time? Honestly, you know why it is that you want to switch fields. Normally the grass is greener on the other side, and you know what you saw. It's hard to advise on this one. It's hard.
If I could also add to that, I agree with you, Mrs. Akeredolu. I would just say the fact that you're already thinking about it is okay. Perhaps, as they say, sometimes just move. If you're frustrated, then move. But you know, it's personal. Context is everything.
Thank you so much. I think from the session we've had today, from our inputs, from both of our mentors, the person can actually sit down and think properly and make that decision. Our second question is, what are non-negotiable skills a lawyer must have? Mrs. Daring, please, can you help us with that?
So I would say they're the standard ones of being able to be articulate, being able to just be able to explain clearly. But I think in today's world, you also have to tie it in with the way the world is going, as in with AI, with technology. So you also need to be adaptable. You need to be a lawyer that, depending on what role you are in, your client can understand. So I would just say being relevant to the times within the context of the typical non-negotiable skills of technically sound, articulation. Do you see the point? Just be relevant to the times. I think that will set you apart from every lawyer. I always use this with my team that everybody went to law school. It's so difficult. So what I need is more than there is a baseline brilliance. I need more than that. Thank you.
If I may add, a lawyer must be able to communicate efficiently and effectively. A lot of lawyers today ask people. They don't ask, they ask. And as soon as the lawyer asks me, I switch off. I stop listening. You're supposed to ask, not ask. And there are many things like that. You question me. It's question. The language of our communication, because we are lawyers in Nigeria, is English. At least speak that well. Then people will be interested in listening to what you have to say. Some of the times you see a good speaker, probably not because they have anything good to say, but because they're communicating effectively and efficiently. And that's the basic tool of a lawyer. If I'm interviewing somebody and you ask me, I'm sorry, you have failed my interview. I will then give you a chance if I see that on the technical, you're not doing a bad job. But I will shut the door if you ask me rather than ask me. Communication.
Thank you so much. Thank you, our mentor. So the basic skills: communication, be articulate, be adaptable to the times, think about the times now. Thank you so much. We have one hand up. Okay. Let's hear from you, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Leonard Silkumar and Mrs. Daring. So I actually typed my question in chat. It's how do you know? My question goes to Mrs. Daring. How do you know when to make a switch? For an example, from tech to full-time finance, and what indicators suggest that you've reached your peak? Like, oh, it's time for you to actually move. Thank you.
I think we addressed it, but I can speak at least with the context you've given. Only you would know. But by the time you already feel itchy, then why not make the switch? Always note that even if you make the switch and it's the wrong switch, then you can move again. But there's no point just getting stuck somewhere because you're not sure you should move. And what was the second part of your question? When you peak or something.
How do you know you've reached the peak of your career?
So that's also subjective. Peak is what you make of it. And so for me, if, for example, as a kid, I always knew that if I made partner, then I've reached the peak. Perhaps I've reached the peak, but I think in experience, by the time you start working, you realize that may not be your peak. You just had a sort of idealized peak. So it just depends on what whoever determines to be their peak. And I'm not sure what the context around even picking what you're getting at really. But the point is, you just keep shooting because the world is evolving. So even peaks are going higher. I can use a good example. The current, I don't know which, the current minister, I am Mrs. Oduwole. If you look at her career trajectory, it's not been linear. You know, she's worked in a law firm, she worked in asset management, she was a non-executive director in EcoBank. Then she worked with the vice president on PEBEC. Did you see? Then she went into politics. So, you know, she's been open. And I'm sure some people thought she had peaked when she was in the other administration. And then now she's working with the president. So, you know, peak is what you make of it.
Thank you, Ma.
I totally agree. So what does peak even mean? I mean, you see, imagine you are standing on a mountain. From when you started climbing that mountain, it seemed like the highest mountain. You get to the top of that mountain and you look and you see another mountain. Ah, that one is higher than this one I'm on. Oh, you have to come down the one you are on to climb that one. There are no bridges between mountains. When you climb up that one again, maybe there was a higher one that you didn't see. When the peak is a moving target if you are truly going to be successful.
Yeah.
People said to me, yeah, I thought when I was AG, I had reached the peak of my career. Yeah. I came back from the office of AG and I went and did Charter Institute of Arbitrators to become a fellow. After that, I did the Institute of Construction Industry Arbitrators. The peak is a move. It must be a moving target because you are, as long as you live, you must continue to learn. The day you stop learning is the day you die. So this peak is a moving target. Don't settle down into comfort. And for those who are thinking of switching, you know, I have one advice. Some people want to switch because the boss there is making their life difficult. Okay, why do we all wake up at 5 o'clock to go to work? We all came here to work. So the boss that is seems to be making life difficult, you did not leave her house or his house with a venture to come and make your life difficult. Are you holding up your end of the bargain? Some people want to leave because they tell them they are not coping or they did a bad appraisal. In my career, all the people I have mentored who have come to me, they want to leave because one boss is making their life difficult. I said, well, make yourself indispensable. If you leave now, the story is going to be told that you left because you couldn't cope. Is that the narrative you want? The answer is always no. So why don't you sit? Buy the books relevant to your area of law. Make yourself indispensable. Be the go-to person in that area. When you have now become indispensable, and you say, come to think of it, guys, I'm leaving. And everybody say, well, why now? Oh, please don't go. Is that not when the ovation is loudest? Don't leave because you couldn't prove yourself. You're admitting failure. But if you become indispensable, then you then say, yes, I'm leaving. Then they start begging you to stay. Have you not added value to the firm and to yourself? So many people say they want to leave, they want to make a career switch because this place is not working. Make it work. If you become indispensable, it will work. And then it won't be anybody telling you whether to leave. You will be the one. In fact, you'll get invitations. You will get offers. You'll be spoiled for choice. You'll be the one saying, this one is offering 5 million. This one is offering 5.5 and house. This one is offering 7.5 but no house. Which one should I take? You become spoiled for choice. But you must become valuable. If they say you are not valuable, change that narrative. Become valuable. And what you will even find that when you say you want to leave, no other door will open until God is ready for you to move. And until God is ready for you to move, you must stay there and make yourself valuable. Learn the lessons of the place. Develop yourself. Learn new things. You don't just jump because the place is hot. And a lot of people, young people, are doing that. Whether you want to leave or not, weigh the benefits and weigh the burdens. Is it paying your bills? Are you finding some fulfillment there? Are you enjoying what you do? If the answer is yes, then you stay. But when the place is becoming maybe too problematic and you are absolutely not able to cope and all of that, the burdens have overweighed the benefits, then you leave. But don't just leave because the kitchen is hot.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our mentors. I have one more question here. We have some hands up. We're going to get to it. We have about 20 more minutes for our.
I have if I could butt in, someone sent a question directly to me, and I thought perhaps I should respond. I think she said, what is the difference between separating yes, in practical terms, how do you separate your brand from your current role? Should I quickly take that?
Yes, please.
So in I guess to answer it is when you do nothing, then you're tied to your current role. And I'm saying that not to say that your current role is not part of what you do. So in practical terms, for example, on LinkedIn, and I'm not saying share just for sharing's sake. Do you share do you have any sort of thought leadership articles? Do you have any sort of events that you attend? So good example, I work in a leading insurance company, but today I am at the WIMBIZ NBM Women in Law session 3, which frankly was based on my personal brand. My job did not bring me into this role. So I guess where I'm going with this is be open to opportunities outside of your job that complement your role. So speaking engagements, sectoral industry activities, and speak about them on your personal LinkedIn profile, yes, which shows that you work in a role. So what that does is, whilst your job is part of what you do, it builds into your personal brand. Whilst you have some professionals who have a strong value proposition and have no visibility, and there's no separation. So all I'm saying is, in today's world, you need to build your personal brand. Does that help? Thank you.
Thank you so
Sorry,
much.
I see questions.
Yes, we have some.
Having a career switch from public sector to private sector. You know, the public sector, people close at 4 and go home. You must be ready to close at 5 or 6. And then choose your area. Or it will be good if you're going to the private sector if you bring some skills, your public sector skills and connections. That would be my advice. If you've identified where it is you are going to, and you come with some value from some of your public sector experience and contacts, it will help you in the private sector. Okay. How do we navigate certification courses, working 9 to 5? And so don't go to party at weekends now. On Saturday, sit down and study. You're already a charter secretary, so you found the time. What can I do to keep the fire going? You are in banking. And you are taking a certification in accounting. So it can be done now. You've already, that you are doing it, or you're already doing it, honestly. So you're up the right track. I don't think you need any advice from me. When you're sitting in your car going home or on the bus going home, you do some of your reading. Structure your leave times to coincide with a week or so before your exams so that you can study for your other exams, go to classes over the weekend. That your social life, something has to give. And, social life, no weddings, no parties until you have your exam. You can challenge yourself. If somebody is having a wedding and they say you should come, send them an envelope. They prefer the envelope than you coming anyway. And whether you come or not, the marriage will happen. So
I can even add a bit to that. There are some employers who appreciate the fact that you are taking an interest in your development and growth. Like where I work, you will be given time out over and above your leave to go for a course, even if it's not paid for by the employer. So of course, within the governance around where you work, because sometimes it is that some people don't have the audacity to ask and assume that they will not be allowed. So also just ask and find out, and you'll be amazed what that brings.
Thank you so much, Ms. Daring. We have Some hands up. Let me just give the opportunity to some of them to ask their questions. Omoni. Omoni, please speak up. Okay, I don't think she's available right now. Let me just ask another.
Brianna, you're muted.
Please, can you hear me now?
We can now.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Let me just ask one more question from the chat box. What advice would you give a young lawyer who is still figuring out her areas of interest, especially when those areas of interest seem to change quite often? Ms. Daring, please, can you help us with that?
Yes, it's a very wide and vague question, but wherever the person finds herself in, then I'll just stay there and watch how it goes and stay open. I believe that as you work, the more you realize what you enjoy. And so, you have all these areas of interest and do everything. The beauty of working in a law firm, which I recall, is that you're just exposed to it all. I liked that. You have a pulse of what's going on in the country. You have a pulse of infrastructure projects. I mean, obviously you have to be confidential, but you just have a pulse of what's going on. And sometimes it helps you even see where you want to go, or if you don't even like this kind of work. So time would tell, I would say. Brianna, you're muted.
Our general, please, can you add to that? We can hear you.
I adopt everything Mrs. Adefulu has said, honestly.
Thank you so much. Let me give another opportunity to someone. Ekanem, please go forward.
Thank you very much, Brianna. Am I audible, please?
You are.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Leonard Silk, it's always a pleasure to listen to you. You always learn something new each time I'm on a call where you are speaking because you're so down to earth. And Brianna too has been spitting gold nuggets here. So, Leonard Silk, you talked about constructive tension. I'd like you to speak to something. I would have, just taken the advice like that, but for the sake of younger lawyers here and also for myself, I have a couple of things to ask. Now, where there is the pressure to stay in a particular role or because somebody is good at something, but the person doesn't find it fulfilling, what would you advise this person? Because that happens to me a lot. That's one. And then secondly, because you're the general, you're as Brianna has said, general. What advice would you give for a not so young lawyer, an older lawyer returning to litigation? That has been my trajectory in the past couple of years. What would be your advice to be able to pick up and move forward? It's been quite an experience, but I'd like to hear from you directly.
Okay. Sorry, when questions are long, I will lose track. But the part of it that I got, and please bring me back if I missed anything, is a not so young lawyer who wants to come back to practice, the litigation side of practice.
Yes,
so,
please.
The first thing I'm going to eat is humble pie.
Definitely.
So that you go into a good chambers where you get, if you get employed, you probably start lower than what you are entitled to.
Yes.
But even the Bible recognizes that there is a time and a season for everything under heaven. So this is a time for you to learn.
Yes.
You will be following them to court. Lawyers younger than you may give you work to do, but focus on where you are going. what I say to
Yes.
my juniors or younger people that I mentor is, imagine you are going to the market to buy okra. As you are walking into the market, the meat seller is calling you. Tomato seller is calling you. Vegetable seller is calling you. What did you go to the market to buy?
Okra.
Focus. So until you buy okra and put okra in your basket, don't look at what pepper seller, meat seller, and all the others are calling. Focus on the okra you went to buy. Because the woman has only maybe 2 or 3 bowls of okra. While you are wasting time with meat seller and pepper seller, somebody else will buy the remaining 3 okra that you came to buy. So you went to the market to buy okra. Focus, put okra in your basket. Then you can begin to look at other things. You go into a good chambers where they are busy. Focus on busy. The person you are assigned to may be younger than you, but the person has more experience than you. That's your focus. Not that person's age. After all, she's even my junior at the bar. Leave that one alone. Focus on what you went to get from that person. The person is experienced. If you think you're only going to work with the boss, they will leave you behind.
Yes.
Because the boss knows you probably don't have the competence, so he's not going to delegate the work to you. But by the time people see that you are humble enough, you are here to learn, you are focused on learning, they will open up to you and give you knowledge. You know, when I had my second child, I was outside Lagos. We were coming back to Lagos, and I looked at it. I was already a lawyer, but I thought, I can't leave my children at home and be going to work. So what I'm going to do, I went to learn the trade, tailoring. When I got into the tailoring place, I didn't let them know I was a lawyer. So they were teaching me, Madam, go and bring this. I will run, go and get it. Madam, go and bring that. I will run, go and get it. I will attend to them. One day, a judge came to make close with the madam of the place, Honorable Justice Shaifola Shade Ojo. My lord saw me and said, my learned friend, what are you doing here? I said, this woman has exposed. That was how. They now said, Madam, I say lawyer here ni abajo te man gbe moto wa. Madam, no, you are a lawyer. No wonder you come with car. Why didn't you tell us you're a lawyer? I said, if I told you I was a lawyer, will you teach me tailoring? But everybody then appreciated the humility, and everybody taught me what I needed to know. And in 6 months, I was a certified dressmaker. Do you understand? If you keep your head down, you see, knowledge is a gift. Nobody's going to give it to a proud person. So if the person who is going to teach you is younger than you, go into a busy chambers. Emphasis, I keep telling you, a busy chambers. You may take a pay cut, but it's only for a while. In a year or 2, you've learned all the things you need to learn. You can then turn and say, okay, I'm going to a bigger place. By that time, you are qualified. When they are interviewing you and say, how do you move a motion for injunction? You've gotten 2 years of experience. You tell them, you do this, you do this, you do. Don't forget that because you are older, you are maturer, you will learn faster. You may even be the one teaching the junior who knows the ropes. Okay, why don't we add this? You two will bring some value. But you first need to submit yourself to that knowledge. Then when you get it, you're up and running. In one of the law firms I worked, I was older than 3 partners that I was reporting to. But I stayed because what? They had what I needed. I read law as a second degree. So if we had all read law together, I probably would have been their senior at the bar. But because they read law as a first degree, I read as a second degree, they were my seniors at the bar. But they had the experience and I needed it. I had taken time out to have children. So I kept my head down. And today we have a fantastic relationship. We're still friends and I learned from them. Yoruba say, Ìbànújẹ́ lọ́jọ́ orí. If you focus on, I'm older than you, you will be left lagging. Let humility guide everything that you do. I can't name, you have my number now.
I know. Thank you so much, Leonard Silk. I knew you would give it a different perspective. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. And thank you, WIMBIZ and MBA.
Thank you so much, Ekanem, for that question. We have about 6 minutes to go for some more questions. Please permit me to read another question from the chat box. She says, Dear mentors, I am a young lawyer and I have chosen a legal career in data protection and AI law because those are my areas of interest. But it's kind of hard growing here with no real mentor to learn from. Training and certifications in this field is quite on the high side. What would you advise? Because I am not willing to give up. Ms. Terry,
Good,
please.
good for you. I don't think there's anybody that's going to mentor you in data protection and AI because these are new areas. You know, I said data protection. Data protection started with 2023 law. So there's a textbook that I bought. It's an English book. Go and read it so that you become the go-to person for data protection and AI. There's nobody that's going to mentor you in those areas. It's new. Everybody, you know, we are like blind men in that field. Do it like this, do it like this. We are feeling our way along. So there's nobody that's going to mentor you. If I tell you, but if I've done cases in data protection, and it's somebody who says you breached my data protection, so we'll go and carry the law and say, okay, he hasn't satisfied this one, he hasn't satisfied this one, we file preliminary objection. Everybody is feeling their way through. So there's no mentorship in that area at all. We are using the letter of the law, statute, and residual knowledge. If I tell you I know it, I bluff anybody that tells you they know it. No matter how senior the senior advocate, they are bluffing you.
I mean, if I may also add to that, I think there's also this risk, or rather, maybe not a trend, but a belief that it's all about mentors and sponsors. I'm not saying that is not important, and my goodness, I have seen the fruits of that in my career and in other people's careers. But sometimes it's really contextual. So what I mean by that is, because the training courses are expensive in that area, there are also other things that we can do. We're in a different time. So monitor data protection trends, monitor international trends. I think that it is such a great opportunity when you are in an area that is still developing. You can even try to be or decide that you'll be a thought leader in that space, because we can see the future. That's where we're going. And so since, yes, everyone is learning, you then build a portfolio around that, as opposed to waiting for a mentor or a sponsor. You can even have, because we're in everything has been democratized, be it a blog, a page, even if it's just, titled Diary of an Aspiring, Learner of Data Protection and AI. But the point is, you'll be amazed how much knowledge you will get, even in sharing, even in speaking about it, and even in pulling from resources that we have, because there's a lot online and there are trends beyond even training courses. And sometimes the training courses are not as useful as practical experience or insight. So that would be my addition. Please bear with the background noise.
Thank you so much, our mentors, for that answer. Please, to the person who asked this question, please don't give up.
Can I also say to this person that, there was a recent decision in the I think it's the Federal High Court, so I don't know if it's the Federal High Court or the State High Court, a decision given in favor of Mr. Femi Falana against, I don't know if is it Amazon or against one of those companies. Why don't you write a feature article, write a case review on that and put it in the paper, Business Day, whatever, or This Day Lawyer? That's the beginning. By the time you explore the Federal High Court, you will find decisions given on data protection. You yourself, you even write an analysis of the Data Protection Act, challenges and opportunities in the NDPA 2023. You begin to show yourself as being knowledgeable in that area. Nigeria, do we have an AI law? Review it. Comments and commentaries on, this is a beginning. And that way, you, like Mrs. Adefulu said, you make yourself a thought leader in the area. I honestly wish I had the time. I just go and colonize that area, and everybody that's looking for anything there will come to me. And if you then want to even then use all of those skills to go into a big law firm, because of all of what you have, they can bring you in at partner level, because that you are the person. Yeah, it's amazing the opportunities that are available. Okay.
Thank you so much. That is a serious call to action for the person who asked this question. So please do not give up. We are rounding up our questions now. We have just 1 minute, so let's do our very last question. This person says, how do you advise one to build competence in drafting pleadings and court processes? Is it by drafting or reading briefs? Our general.
All of them work.
Yes.
All of them work. You know, one good place to start, go and read all of Lord Denning's judgments. And you see, you know, Lord Denning, before he read law, got a first class in mathematics. And in my view, he brought the simplicity and brevity and accuracy of mathematics into law. That's why he wrote the most beautiful judgment. Short sentences, concise, very sharp. Read Lord Denning, because he's a master of the English, great structure. Then read judgments. By the time you read judgments, it even helps your logical thinking. Then when you even get a textbook, I love the preface. I like to read the preface of English textbooks. Teaches you how to communicate, how to reason. And by the time you're able to do that, I thank God for my stepmother who made me read novels. It helps your vocabulary, helps your structure, helps your ability to communicate in writing. Because communicating verbally is quite a different ballgame from communicating, in writing. These are the things you need to do. A lawyer needs to continue reading. I'm on holidays in England right now. And every time I'm on the bus or on the tube, I always have a book. I don't like ebooks because of the light. I always have a book to kill time. I love long haul flights. When I'm flying to America, I like a big fat book. It improves your vocabulary, your writing skills. We don't read enough anymore. You see lawyers, young, especially the ladies, are chewing gum, and they're doing this in court. Time that you should use to read and develop yourself, you are scrolling on. Guys, we have a long way to go. All that people, those people you are watching scrolling, they are using it to make money. You are lagging. I've said my own.
All right, thank you so much, our general. Okay, I think we can do just one more question. One more question before we round up this session for today. This question will go, having mentioned some very lucrative areas, what's your view on health law in Nigeria? Health law.
Oh, health law. Health law is a great area. I also work on health law, health litigation, coroner's inquest, and all of that. This Chimamanda's case recently is going to do some things in health law that it would be good to contribute to. I remember Ikepo of This Day Lawyer. She wrote a piece on it. And now that it's topical, will be the time to show your health law experience. And I understand that I don't know which court it was, in Abuja or so, recently, the last few days, gave a decision about whether the FCCPC can regulate medical practice. The doctors were of the view that FCCPC cannot regulate medical practice, that is for the Medical and Dental Council Association of Nigeria. You see, these are things that will show you up. Health law is a fantastic area because Nigerians are becoming more aware of their rights. They won't have money to pay the doctor, but they have money to sue the doctor the day the doctor makes a mistake. So it's an opening, it's a great area that you can look to. And with all this IVF surrogacy issue, during COVID, there was a young lady, youth couple, who decided that she would be a surrogate. She would carry a pregnancy for a couple. And they put their egg and sperm, they put it in her. The pregnancy was growing. Before she could have the baby, the couple who employed her as surrogate both died. And this was a youth couple who came to Lagos and said she should quickly earn 2 million by using her womb to make money and go back home. So who now owns the baby? It's a health law issue. Very interesting issues arise in that area. So it's a great area to look at.
I agree, Miss Darren. Please, can you add to this while we round up? Do we
Um,
get?
So I really would lean on our general's comments. It is a great
Oh, you
area.
too. And you
And
too, Darren.
no, it truly is a great
You have
area. And I
joined them.
also I have to. And I also like the fact that it's an emerging area. I think that the opportunities is what I love. And when you have such opportunities, you can leverage on it. You can decide to be part of it, decide to be part of, even the focus groups, decide to be part of who is drafting, just be very strategic. But it is indeed a great area. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think all our mentees need to understand that magic doesn't have, it's not magic. If you have a baby today, the baby will not, the earliest that a baby will walk is 9-10 months. The baby won't walk in a day. So growth is organic. It takes time. Magic is not going to happen in a moment. Well, only magic happens in a moment, but the kind of magic that is sustaining and enduring does not happen in a moment.
Thank you so much, our essay. Thank you to our speakers, our mentors. Please, is there anything you would like to add before we close up this session?
Apologies, was that to me?
Yes, it was to both of our mentors.
Oh, sorry.
Is there anything you would like to add before we close up for today?
Good luck, everyone. Good luck. But it's a marathon and not a sprint to success. And even success is a moving target. You can get more successful and more successful with each passing day. Oh, somebody wants the name of the book I mentioned on data protection. See, I'm away from my desk now. The book is in my office. What I'll do is when I get back home, I'll take a picture of the cover and send it to MBA chairman, and then you can get it from her.
Okay.
MBA chairman, remind me if you are here.
Good, great. Thank you so much. This was an amazing session, personally for myself, and from the reactions we have been getting in the group chat, it's just very massive. We have about almost 300 mentees on the Zoom today. I know our general may not consider herself a mentor, but today you have inspired almost 300 ladies in the legal profession. My takeaway today from the first session by our general, know thyself, and this will probably lead your path in the legal career. And for Mrs. Daring has told us to manage your career plan. It's not linear. Be open and remember that it is a journey. I would like to thank both our mentors for their time today. Thank you for all that you do in the legal profession. Thank you for all the inspiration you give to women such as myself and everybody on this call. I would also like to thank the organizers. Thank you to WIMBIZ. I myself, I am an associate, and all I have gotten since I joined is just value, value, value. Thank you so much to MBA Lagos branch for collaborating and giving us this platform to learn. Thank you so much to all the mentees who joined us today, who spent their time. It's actually very encouraging to see that, there are a lot of women who still want to learn and progress in this profession. Thank you to all the organizers on this Zoom, putting all of this together. It wasn't easy. We are very grateful. This was a great session. Can I see your reactions, please? Let me know that you enjoyed these sessions. Let me see the thumbs up. Let me see the hearts. Send some love to your mentors, please. Send some love to WIMBIZ. Send some love to MBA Lagos branch. Amazing, 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 amazing.
The men say they are here too. Thank you, men, for joining.
Thank you all the men who took advantage of this opportunity. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you all the men. Thank you all the ladies, all the organizers, our mentors. Thank you so much. Also, as the anchor, I will be bowing out now. Thank you for the opportunity to anchor this session. It was truly an honor. I will be handing over now to who is going to give us our closing remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Precious.
Brianna. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been an amazing session, a lot of takeaways. I'm not sure I have any. I'd like to say thank you to our speakers. And I don't know if anyone noticed, our speakers and our anchor are wearing blue. You know, it's more or less like they planned the color, but please let's just celebrate them. And also it was Mrs. Adefulu's birthday some days ago. So please wish her a happy birthday in the chat as well. And to just celebrate the both of them for making time out to be here. I think one of the takeaways for me is knowledge is a gift. Nobody is going to give it to you and give it to a proud person. So you just have to be humble. You have to show humility. Very quickly, we started dropping the the survey in the chat box. So please feel. We'd like to take your feedback. Feedback is very important. We want to hear from you so that we're able to improve on the program and so that we're able to plan such inspiring and empowering webinars like this. So please feel. We invite mentees who are not yet members. You've heard from Brianna, she's a member of WIMBIZ. You've heard from Mrs. Adefulu, who enrolled for the Women on Boards Mentoring Program. So we invite you, if you are yet to be a member of WIMBIZ, to please do so today. Apply via the link that is being dropped in the chat box, or simply just reach out to us via membership@wimbiz.org. We also invite our mentees and everyone to just sponsor a girl. So one of the activities and initiatives that we have in WIMBIZ is the CSR initiative, where they call the WIMBIZ Big Sister program. It's a one-day mentoring program for senior secondary school girls between the ages of 14 and 18, where we go to secondary school, public secondary schools, and we invite you to just support with a token of 20,000 naira. If you want to sponsor as high as 10 girls and more, please support and sponsor a girl. If you also want to donate some in-kind products as well for these girls, we're visiting about 4 states this year, so we welcome all support. The WIMBIZ London conference is coming up sometime in June. Please be on the lookout for registration. Registration is going to start soon, and we invite you all to register. Both we have it hybrid, so if you want to attend virtually, please register. Our annual conference, our 25th annual conference, is also coming up on the 5th and 6th of November 2026. We invite you all to please be on the lookout. Registration will start. We also have early bird fee, so you want to enjoy the early bird fee. Please stay tuned and watch out. Check out on all our social media platforms. To register for all of our upcoming programs, please, like I said, check us out on our social media platform. Visit our website, www.wimbiz.org, or simply just reach out to us via programs@wimbiz.org. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, Instagram, to Facebook, to LinkedIn, and to X. Want to say thank you on behalf of the executive management team and the MBA Lagos branch. We say thank you and we look forward to next time. Bye.